I love our weekly news leak with Johannes. Good to talk to you again, mate. You had a good week?
Yes, mate. Always a good week of cartoons.
You've had a cracking week in the paper. And today's cartoon, I'm going to start off with you today, actually, because it's just so good. This is about ScoMo and all the lefties criticising him, slamming him over his religion. And you've got this lefties in the tea room sitting around. And as Zabansky retweeteth unto Fitzsimons and his followers, beware prime ministers who worship false gods. And it's Amen Brother from Get Up and the Greens and the Rationalist Society. I mean, you're picking out their hypocrisy about their religions of choice beautifully, Johannes.
Thanks, mate. Well, I mean, green leftism is these days the secular religion, isn't it? So there are all sorts of parallels. I thought the way that they all have their followers and they quote one another and all these little grabs are almost like sort of biblical quotes, only far less insightful half the time. But there certainly are parallels, and that's what I wanted to bring out and yes, highlight their hypocrisy.
You must have so much fun with all the details, the earrings, the hairstyles, the man buns, the Twitter T-shirt. You got it all there.
Yeah, I like to think that sort of upsets a few people every now and again.
Now, another one, a very sobering cartoon from you about India. Now, I've been critical about us blocking the return of Australians from India. You've got the funeral pyres on fire in India, and one of them has actually burnt the bridge back home to Australia. That's sometimes it's a very sombre mood you can strike with this sort of cartoon for sure.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I thought sometimes these awful situations, they don't really lend themselves to a gag with captions. I mean, sometimes it's possible, but sometimes you just want to find a more emblematic kind of treatment, I suppose. And this one here, I thought, we've seen all those pyres burning, and I thought, if you're one of the 9,000 Australians stranded in India right now, you would very much feel as though Australia has burnt the bridge home. And so, yes, that's what I wanted to do, add one more fire down there, but it's burning the bridge back to Australia, and you certainly do feel for these Australians that are stranded there.
Yeah, it's a striking image. It does it all with the image. Brilliant work. Let's go to one of your lefty competitors now, and Wah in the Nine newspapers. This is a terrific drawing. This is Joe Biden as Uncle Sam dragging ScoMo, and I think perhaps is that Angus Taylor, anyway, dragging ScoMo and someone else down the road to net zero.
Yeah. I mean, apart from the irony that you've got this ancient president who's the one that's dragging us in, kicking and screaming into the 21st century. But yes, I mean, look, it is an insight into this idea that widely held on the left, that Australia is dragging its heels on climate change, and we don't front up and make any commitments and make any great big promises, and that's simply not good enough. I suppose the fact that seems to be lost on a lot of commentators on the left is that we actually have a track record that shows we're actually doing rather well, and we're certainly doing better than a lot of the countries that make those grand claims but don't live up to them. So,
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why if we could just put it up again before we go, because what I think about this cartoon is the only apart from being beautifully drawn and making the sort of green left political point, the only funny thing about it is that it's so wrong. Joe Biden can't drag anyone, as you say, this feeble old man, and he's been doing nothing. He's made promises, he's done nothing, and Australia has actually reduced our emissions. We've done more. So it's sort of factually, politically, completely wrong and unfunny. And that's all the time we've got for you this week. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a good weekend. See you next Friday.